All right, let's dive right in. We're looking at the brand new Windows Server 2025 today, and specifically, we're talking about security. Because Microsoft hasn't just tweaked a few things here, they've gone in and seriously re-engineered the very core of how our networks figure out who we are and what we're allowed to touch.
You do it every single day, right? You type in your password, you hit enter, and you're in. It feels instantaneous. But behind that simple action, there's this incredibly complex dance of security protocols happening to let you in while slamming the door on everyone else. And with Windows Server 2025, that whole process just got a major security overhaul.
So to really get what's new and exciting, we first have to talk about the system that's been guarding the gates of Windows networks for decades. It's a protocol called Kerberos. And honestly, you can just think of it as the head of security for your entire digital world. The best way to picture Kerberos is to imagine your entire network is a super high security office building. Kerberos is the security system for the whole place. And at the very heart of it, you've got something called the Key Distribution Center, or KDC. That's the main security desk in the lobby. You don't go anywhere or do anything until you've checked in with them first. So how does this work in practice? Well, when you log in, your computer marches right up to that security desk, the KDC, and shows your credentials. The KDC looks you up, and if you're on the list, it does something really clever. It doesn't give you a key to one specific office. Nope. It gives you what's called a ticket granting ticket, or a TGT. This is basically your all-day access badge. Now, for the rest of the day, whenever you need to get into a specific room or access a file, you just flash that badge to get a key for that one thing. You never have to show your main ID again. It's super efficient and way more secure. Okay, so that basic system, it's still there in Server 2025. It works. But what Microsoft has done is they've layered on all this new, modern armor. They're hardening that core system against the kind of attacks we see today. Let's take a look at what that armor is made of. The upgrades really hit a few critical areas. We're talking about making things secure by default, not just as an option. They're cranking up the encryption, locking down machine accounts, and rolling out some really smart ways to protect service accounts. Let's break down a couple of the biggest game changers. First up, stricter defaults. Okay, think of LDAP as the address book for your entire network. In the past, when you'd look someone up, that conversation wasn't always digitally signed. That meant a clever attacker could, potentially, jump in the middle of that conversation and change the response. Not good. By making LDAP signing mandatory, Server 2025 is basically putting a tamper-proof cryptographic seal on every single one of those lookups. That whole attack vector, gone. And this next one, this is a huge deal. There's a really nasty attack out there called Kerberosing. It let attackers pull credentials from service accounts so they could try to crack them offline, with all the time in the world. Well, the new fix for this is called Delegated Managed Service Accounts, or DMSAs. What they do is brilliant. They essentially chain an account's credentials to a specific computer. The credential is now totally useless without the machine it's tied to, which just stops that attack cold. So, okay, that's some of the nitty-gritty. But what does this all mean in the real world? Why is this so important? It really comes down to one thing: making life incredibly difficult and expensive for the bad guys. A massive part of that is forcing everyone to use much stronger encryption. Server 2025 is basically saying goodbye to older, weaker methods and is now demanding modern, almost unbreakable algorithms like AES. It's not optional anymore, it's the new minimum requirement. So even if an attacker sniffs some data off the wire, it's just going to look like absolute gibberish to them. What's really happening here is that Server 2025 is building a defense in-depth strategy. You've still got Kerberos as the main workhorse for authentication, but now it's backed up by this whole team of specialized secure protocols like LDAPs for those address book lookups. It's not just one wall, it's a whole series of hardened walls, with every single piece made stronger. When you add all this up, it's more than just an update. What we're seeing is the creation of a totally new security baseline. The entire philosophy has changed from you can be secure to you will be secure right out of the box. And there's a quote from this source material that just absolutely nails it. It says Server 2025 hardens the infrastructure, eliminates legacy fallbacks, and forces encryption. Think about that. Microsoft is actively ripping out the old, insecure options that attackers have been exploiting for years. This is a huge step forward. So yeah, Server 2025 is a massive leap forward, making networks fundamentally safer by default. But it also gets you thinking, doesn't it? This new baseline is built to defend against the threats we face right now. But as those threats keep changing and evolving, you have to wonder, what's the armor of tomorrow going to look like? What will we need to build to defend against that?